Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. Proposals for England's largest wind farm to be built on a West Yorkshire moorland trigger an intense campaign as fears grow about the impact on the landscape.
Just over there, there's a dead moor, a grouse moor. You could put it all there and I would be cheering. But here is vandalism. It's catastrophic environmental vandalism and it's greenwashing.
Developers say their project will complement the local environment. Also tonight, battery running low, the disabled drivers who can't access public charging points for electric vehicles. We'll meet the CrossFit star from Huddersfield getting ready for an elite competition. And how firefighters are using new kit to save the lives of animals, as demonstrated by Cuthbert the kitten.
And what a difference a day makes. This was Sheffield during the commute first thing in the morning. But what about the next few days? Join me for that detailed, accurate forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Thank you for joining us. First tonight, campaigners fighting the development of England's largest wind farm on the moors above Hebden Bridge are intensifying their opposition to the scheme. Now this week they'll hold a public meeting in the town to discuss what they're branding as an industrial theme park. A company called Calderdale Wind Farm wants to construct 65 wind turbines. Each one would be up to 200 metres tall, and to just give you an idea, that would be the height of Blackpool Tower. The wind farm would generate electricity of 286,000 homes. The company says it will put Calderdale at the forefront of the UK's net zero ambitions. Our business correspondent Spencer Stokes has been looking at the plan and comparing it with a wind farm that already operates.
They're going to be as packed as closely as they can get them, so 65 of them, like an army of tripods or Iron Men across this whole thing.
Wild and exposed, Walshaw Moor is a wind farm developer's dream. For others, like local author Horatio Clare, the plan to put turbines here would ruin the natural environment.
So what you're looking at is not just one of the most beautiful landscapes in England or in Yorkshire or in the north, but in Europe. It's really special, and you're looking really at the complete destruction of this miracle. Of course, it's important that we have green energy, but we need to have it in the right places, and we need there to be something left. We can't just turn this world into a power generating battery.
I'll do this one.
Since first being outlined last autumn, opposition has intensified. Tomorrow, campaigners will hold a public meeting. Their fear is the beauty of the moor will be lost under a sea of turbines.
The proposal is horrifying and spread over 9 square miles of precious peat moorland. And the Pennine Way runs right through the site, so they would have to rename it the Wind Farm Way. And who'd want to walk there with the area just turned into an industrial wasteland?
It's the bleak isolation of these moors that people value, and dotting them with dozens and dozens of turbines would undoubtedly transform the area. But can wind farms come to be appreciated and even enjoyed?
How's your daughter getting on anyway? Is she all right?
That's what's happened at this moor on the edge of Glasgow. Whiteley is the largest wind farm in the UK with 215 turbines. It's taken over the landscape, but has also become a kind of moorland park, attracting runners, walkers and cyclists. And once a month, a group of injured former servicemen meet up here.
It can be a very slow walk. In nice weather, it's a nice slow walk on a summer's day, but in weather like this we tend to get around that a little bit quicker.
What about the turbines with the noise towering over you? Isn't that off-putting?
It's not off-putting at all. You don't even tend to listen to the noise as you're walking past. It just kind of blends into, you know, the walk. Your mind's firmly on the walk. Personally, I find them very relaxing and therapeutic, so we definitely enjoy our time coming here.
It's not just what the turbines look and sound like that concerns campaigners. West Yorkshire's Walshaw Moor is a giant peat bog. Building on it risks damaging the soil ecology, releasing both carbon and water.
What you're doing is you're creating this huge impermeable landscape, which water can no longer soak into. Now, if you're doing that above a valley with huge flood problems, is that a good idea? I don't think so.
See, it's quite soft.
Just like the Pennines, Whiteley is also a natural bog.
Yeah, as long as it stays wet, the carbon will continue to stay in there.
One that Scottish Power say has been protected.
Whiteley Wind Farm was very sensitively and carefully designed and took into account the presence of peat from a really early stage. So the first step would be to identify the location of the peat and try to avoid that in the design of the wind farm. A lot of the roads that are here at Whiteley are floating roads, so that means instead of excavating peat out to build a road, instead the road was built by piling on road material from the top, and this minimises the impact on peat.
But will that happen in West Yorkshire? Calderdale Wind Farm Limited say we will soon commence an environmental assessment, incorporating features suggested by Calderdale Council. They say our aim is to develop a project that complements the local environment.
And it's astonishing, it's going to be like a theme park.
Isn't this NIMBYism, not in my backyard? If they're not going to be built here, where should they go?
Just over there, there's a dead moor, a grouse moor. You could put it all there and I would be cheering. But here is vandalism. It's catastrophic environmental vandalism and it's greenwashing.
New wind farms in England were effectively banned in 2015. Those restrictions have now been lifted, opening up a debate about where they should go and their impact on the natural environment. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North, Walshaw Moor.
Well, Spencer is here to discuss this further. We heard there about the peat moor, but campaigners have got more concerns, haven't they?
Yes, their other big concern is the potential impact on bird life. Walshaw Moor is a prime breeding ground for birds that are waders, so birds like lapwing and curlew. We can see a curlew there now, and they return to the moor every year. They nest there, they have their chicks there, and the fear is that that habitat will simply be lost if the wind farm is built. Now, Scottish Power say wading birds were displaced at Whiteley Moor when they built the wind farm there, but they created a new habitat next to the wind farm where the wading birds are breeding successfully. That's patrolled by the ecology managers there. So they say you can have the two side by side, bird life and a wind farm with those turbines. They can coexist together.
What do we know about the company that's behind this idea?
Yeah, Calderdale Wind Farm is the sort of the brand name. It's backed by an international energy firm called WWRE Global. But the land, Walshaw Moor, is owned by Richard Bannister. Now, he's the man behind the Boundary Mill chain of outlet stores across the north of England. He has said previously that if the wind farm goes ahead, then grouse shooting on the moor, which currently happens at the moment, will come to an end. We've tried to contact Richard Bannister to get more detail about the proposal, what he wants to do there, but he hasn't come back with a comment to us.
When could this happen, Spencer, if it goes ahead?
So what we've seen so far is what's called a scoping report from WWRE Energy. That's gone to Calderdale Council to say, look, this is what we want to do. This is the sort of broad outline for those 65 turbines, 200 metres tall. Calderdale have gone back with their ideas and they're waiting for a formal planning application. That's expected later this year. And whilst they're waiting, we're seeing this building opposition to it in Hebden Bridge with that public meeting taking place in the town tomorrow.
Spencer, thank you. We're going to talk next about electric cars because campaigners say people with disabilities are being prevented from using them. That's because they can't access public charging points. Josh Gardner from Leeds uses a wheelchair and has given his electric car up because he says many rapid charging points are just inaccessible unless he has an able-bodied passenger with him. Tom Ingle investigates.
Right, so today we're going to do a typical journey that I would do in my car.
Josh is a passionate campaigner for people living with disabilities. He also wanted to do his bit and switch to an electric car. He wasn't expecting what he found.
So this is an example here of an inaccessible electric car charging point facility. If I did still have my car and came here, I would have to drive off and find another alternative unless I had someone able-bodied with me in the car who could help us charge the car. Or I could risk it myself and try and charge the car here myself on crutches, but there's a risk of me falling. It's quite a difficult task to do. First thing that I noticed straight away is how many of these charging points have obstacles in the way that Really, only someone who is walking can get to the charging point, whether that is to literally even pay for the charging point or even grab the charging cable. Some of them don't even have a drop curb. They've built a lot of these charging points with steps. Like, can you imagine that? Like, they've literally built a brand new infrastructure in the last few years, which is going to be absolutely mandatory quite soon for a lot of us to be. We will be driving electric cars, everybody, but they've decided to build them with steps.
By the end of April this year, there were more than 61,000 public charge points across the UK. That's a 45% increase since April last year. Josh had a home charger fitted, which he could use, but it only gave him so much range. Public charging was essential for longer journeys. Now, the only web his home charger connects to are the ones made by spiders, because he's gone back to petrol.
A bit gutted, to be honest. I had to ring the mobility scheme up and say, I feel like a prisoner. I've literally got an electric car thinking I'm doing a world of good for the planet, and I'm stuck.
Even so, Josh maintains driving is becoming far less accessible. There aren't so many petrol stations where attendants will help pump the fuel. In his view, radical change is needed to help keep everyone on the move now and in the years ahead. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Well, West Yorkshire Combined Authority says it's working with local councils to create an accessible and reliable electric vehicle charging network. We spoke to Jack Cousins from the AA, who says they've been hearing about the challenges faced by their members.
Removing any steps or barriers between the car parking space and the charge point, ensuring that they're in well-lit locations so that people who may feel vulnerable do not have that sensation, and making sure that anybody can use that charge point, be they disabled or have limited mobility. Retrofitting is a lengthy task and it will take time and effort to investigate which ones need doing, but certainly where there are easy wins for charge point operators to tweak their existing network, they will be looking at doing so. We need to make sure that they're truly accessible for everybody so that everyone can use them.
Listen to the communities and rebuild trust. Those are the key messages from the new leader of the Labour group in Kirklees. Councillor Carol Pattison was elected to lead the group last night and replaces Cathy Scott. At those election results, Labour lost control of the council, although they do remain the largest group. Our political reporter Gemma Dillon has been speaking to Councillor Pattison in her first interview since becoming Labour leader.
It's been a stormy year at Kirklees Council as they needed to make savings of around £47 million. Proposals to close 2 care homes and 3 leisure centres sparked huge protests outside council meetings. The care homes were eventually saved along with 2 leisure centres, and discussions are ongoing about the future of Dewsbury Leisure Centre. And then, since January, 5 Labour councillors have quit the group, citing the National Party's stance in the Israeli-Gaza conflict and issues with the local leadership in Kirklees. Finally, at the local elections earlier this month, with 4 independent councillors elected at the expense of Labour councillors, Labour lost control of the authority, although it still remains the largest group.
Nationally, Labour have seen a big drop in their support in communities with large Muslim populations, and that was mirrored here in Kirklees. How do you go about addressing the trust with that community?
Well, that is exactly it. We've got to rebuild that trust. We have got to get into those communities more than we have been doing. We need to talk to them and we need to listen to them. We need to convince them that we will take action.
For people watching at home who are maybe a little bit worried about how the authority's being run, that it's a minority administration, what reassurances have you got for them?
I'd like to reassure residents and businesses that we will be working alongside our other colleagues. I hope we will be able to come to an agreement that as the largest party, that Labour should continue to run this council as a minority administration.
As Labour group leader, Councillor Pattison will be put forward to be the leader of Kirklees Council at an annual meeting of the authority next week. Gemma Dillon, BBC Look North, Huddersfield.
Now, it's a hot topic at the moment, young people and smartphones. A South Yorkshire MP has said all schools should have phone lockers so students are not distracted by social media apps. Miriam Cates, the Conservative MP for Penistone and Stocksbridge, is urging the government to consider banning under-16s from social media and smartphones. She spoke in Westminster Hall this morning.
We must raise the legal age to use social media accounts to 16. This could be done with an Online Safety Act amendment bill. The government should urgently fund phone pouches or phone lockers for all secondary schools so that all of our children can be free to make the most of their education.
Well, earlier I spoke to Lisa McCall, the head of Wales High School in Rotherham. I asked her what she thought to the idea of introducing phone lockers.
No, I don't believe so, not at this time. There are schools that are local to us where I'm aware that they do use the phone lockers, but we have set about with restricting mobiles, which means that they don't use them in school, they're not seen, they're not heard. I feel the students and the young people deserve a chance to be trusted, and it's worked for us.
What difference have you seen since you've restricted mobile phones? What exactly does that mean?
We've seen better interaction between students. When you walk through the dinner hall, they're talking to each other over their food. Better concentration in lessons, certainly less falling out because things aren't being sent via text or any social media. So we've seen a lot of improvements.
And how do you know that your students aren't, for example, at break time going into the toilet and turning their smartphone on and going on social media?
Well, as you can imagine, that's not something we could police at all times. But with any sort of system, including phone lockers, there'll be ways in which students could beat the system, if you like.
It's a big talking point at the moment. Should smartphones be banned for under-16s? As someone who works with young people every day, what do you think?
I don't think they should be banned. They bring so much in terms of experience and seeing the world, even if it is virtually. And I think there's some good in them. And I think our students do need to be trusted. And I don't think they are the ones who are at fault for what they are being exposed to online.
Lisa McCall, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, this is a huge issue that we'll continue to look at in the coming weeks, and we want to hear what you think about it. You can get in touch with us by scanning the QR code on your own smartphone on the screen now. I do appreciate the irony of asking you to do this. You can get in touch with us via the WhatsApp number on 0808 100 2280. So we want to know, should under-16s be banned from having access to smartphones and social media? Would phone lockers at schools work? What more do you think needs to be done to protect young people from harm online? Do let us know your views. We look forward to hearing from you. Next tonight, a man arrested on suspicion of manslaughter over the death of ice hockey player Adam Johnson has had his bail extended again. The Nottingham Panthers player was hit in the neck by a skate after a collision with Sheffield Steelers' Matt Petgrave in October. The 29-year-old was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. A man has been rebailed until the 26th of June. The Alpimari Water Park in Scarborough should get a new company to run it later this month. North Yorkshire Council took over the park in December last year when the previous operator went into administration. Now, the council says it hopes the park will be reopened to the public in July, just in time for the school holidays. A final decision will be made next week. Now, CrossFit, it is a sport that combines cardio with weight training and gymnastics to build overall fitness and strength. And 20-year-old Connie Easby, she's here, from Huddersfield, is one of the UK's best performing athletes. She's about to compete in the European CrossFit Games semi-finals in France. And her strength is all the more impressive because 5 years ago she was being treated for anorexia in a psychiatric hospital. She's been talking to our sports reporter, Sally Hurst.
She has the power, the strength and the agility. 20-year-old Connie Easby is competing in CrossFit at an elite level. She's currently number 3 in the UK.
CrossFit is functional fitness, so it's preparing you for everyday tasks. Nobody looks the same, and that's what I love about CrossFit, is that performance outweighs aesthetics.
And finding a sport where there's no ideal body type is important to Connie, because as a teenager she was diagnosed with anorexia nervosa. 5 days after unwrapping presents on her 15th birthday, she was admitted to a psychiatric hospital.
I did get to a point where I no longer really wanted to be here. I was struggling so much that I couldn't see a way out. The doctors had told me that I was pretty much sat on my deathbed if I didn't fix what I was doing. Everything going on in my body just was not working anymore. My brain wasn't functioning, I wasn't able to think straight, I couldn't add numbers together, so yeah, it was really hard.
Being in a psychiatric hospital sounds like such a major thing, so frightening in a way, but presumably it's what helped turn it around.
Yeah, 100%. When I went in there, I had no hope, and to be honest, I didn't think they could fix me. We had a lot of therapy in there, a lot of nutrition courses. I learned a lot while I was in there about how to fuel yourself and how much your body actually needs, and that definitely helped.
Coming out of hospital was a moment of celebration, but it was just the start in her recovery.
I think I'm somebody who has a very addictive personality, and when I find something I love, I put my all into it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I suppose that comes with my eating disorder as well. When I decided to lose weight, I put my all into it. So it was finding another focus, and I think CrossFit is now that new addiction, and I'm not going to lie, I love it.
And after 2 years of training, she will compete in the European semi-finals of the CrossFit Games in France.
I think she could be the best one day, definitely, like the best in the world, and that's a bold statement to make. I've worked with a lot of really good athletes, but none have been as determined or had the right mindset that she does, so I just want to give her that. I want to see her get there.
Connie isn't putting pressure on herself at her first CrossFit Games experience and continues to work on her recovery.
When you think back to being that 15-year-old girl in a psychiatric hospital to now, what's that like?
That girl back there is somebody so different and someone I don't even recognise anymore. Like, for me now, I am so happy with where my life is, and I couldn't imagine going back there.
Sally Hurst, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Thank you so much, Connie, for sharing your story with us. If you or someone you know at home has been affected by the issues raised in that report, you can contact the BBC Action Line via bbc.co.uk/action line for details of organisations which offer advice and support. Now, finally tonight, nearly half of all households have pets. We absolutely love them, don't we? But it does mean that house fires can have real devastating consequences for families if pets inhale some of the smoke. Now a charity is equipping West Yorkshire's fire crews with life-saving oxygen masks for little animals. As Kathy Killick reports, they're already working.
Hi, so I'm Sally from Huddersfield Ferals, and what we're going to do today is just sort of demonstrate how to do oxygen therapy on a couple of our animals.
These fire crews from Huddersfield are well used to rescuing people from the perils of fire and smoke, but now they can add pets to their life-saving work. A local charity is equipping and training all West Yorkshire's crews with specially designed oxygen masks to treat animals caught in house fires.
So it goes over the face, into the place, and they can breathe the oxygen through. The vital thing is just getting oxygen to these patients that have been compromised, and to be able to put that equipment out and get it across the stations and the training. I'm super proud of what we've achieved.
Dora the Labrador is used to being a demo dog. In reality, the animals are usually unconscious when discovered by crews. The masks come in different sizes, so there's even one for 8-week-old Cuthbert.
Sometimes if you've got sort of dazed cats, you're going to want to just sort of wrap them in a towel, make sure that they feel really nice and secure. So what you would do is you would just gently place them over the snout of the animal. Obviously the priority is human life, but what we wanted to do was to increase the chances of the crews being able to save animal lives, because obviously you've got the devastation to the potential homes, the families and owners, but then also if they do lose pets within that fire, that's an additional sort of tragedy that goes on top of that.
In trials, the kits have proved easy to use and effective, saving a cat's life within 10 days of deployment, so they now have their own slot on board.
A lot of the time, if we go to a property fire, animals are the first ones to be running out because they're a lot quicker, but it saves people putting themselves at unnecessary risk we could turn up, and if there's an animal still inside, the owners might be running inside, which means there's someone else for us to deal with. It reassures the people, and obviously a lot of people do love their animals, so it's reassuring, and we do the best that we can.
The kits also come with aromatherapy wipes that have a marked effect in calming distressed animals, handy in the inevitable trauma of a fire. It means crews can depart on jobs knowing they can save all life, animal as well as human. Cathy Killick, BBC Look North, Huddersfield.
I love that story. Do you think they do masks small enough for chickens? It's the only pets
Well,
in
I
our
doubt
house.
it. You'd have a problem, and I'd have a problem because my Dave got such a big nose. I don't know whether there'd be a mask that would fit it.
Maybe
but anyway.
a big human mask could work for Dave.
Yes, indeed. Right, anyway, let me show you a couple of pictures because it's been pretty cloudy today, hasn't it? But Mr B Yorkshire was up. I checked on the Weather Watcher website. He was up at 4 o'clock this morning waiting for sunrise. Mr B Yorkshire, the sun doesn't rise until 5:20, but he caught it eventually. And Sands End, you can see, although there's been a lot of cloud, just a hint of brightness there. And temperatures have actually lifted up to 18 degrees, so it's very mild air, despite the fact there is a lot of cloud around. If you've got any pictures you want on the TV, the addresses are on your screen right now. So it does remain unsettled over the next few days. There's a troublesome weather front that will just come across our part of the world over the next sort of 48, 72 hours. At the weekend is looking a bit better. So tomorrow, rather cloudy. There'll be some patchy rain in places. That's that weather front that's just straddled across the north of England. There'll be pulses of activity coming along from time to time, but as I say, you can't really see it from these set of charts, but pressure will subtly build for the weekend, so it should be drier and brighter, and there should be some spring sunshine around for Saturday and for Sunday. You can see the weather front quite nicely there. That said, it's brightened up across South Yorkshire and West Yorkshire in the last couple of hours. Patchy rain pushing away northwards, and then a lull in activity before the rain returns to eastern areas later tonight. It's a mild night to come. We'll see temperatures coming in at 10 or 11 degrees. So at tomorrow's high water time, Scarborough 10:17, Bridlington at 10:35. So it does look rather cloudy tomorrow. There'll be some patchy outbreaks of rain just moving up from the southeast. Like today, there'll be some decent drier and at times brighter spells. It may well brighten up across eastern areas later tomorrow, and where the sun pops out, it should feel pleasant enough. A mild day in general, 18 Celsius the high tomorrow evening. Patchy rain across West and South Yorkshire, brighter to the northeast, similar Thursday, Friday, but a hint of an improvement just in time for the weekend. And that's the forecast, Amy.
We have a brood of little chicks about to hatch in our house.
Really?
It's going to be chaos
You'll
the
need
next
a very
few weeks.
small mask.
Like a minuscule one. That's it from us. Crime Weekly's here with your late news. Bye-bye for now. We've got 20.